What's up, guys? This is Acidic Roots, and we've got part 4 of Super Mario Bros. 2. So, uh, as I haven't figured out yet, I'm still trying the other characters, but this ice world, you know, with given normal ice physics, you might have a few problems with it. But it's not terribly tough, it's just a matter of the respawning enemies. That seems to be the biggest problem. But I think there's actually a climbing segment in this, so you have to really keep on your toes to be aware of that. So, how you guys doing? Are you enjoying this Mario Fest that's been going on in the past several months? Because I've got games after that. I'm thinking about doing the video game Doom. It's, you know, I'm gonna spend some cash, get that game, and eventually get to doing it. Just depending, the thing that depends is just whether or not I can beat the game. So over the past few years, I've watched some walkthroughs of the game Doom, and I'm almost curious to whether or not I could beat it for myself. So I was a bit young for the craze when it first came out, and the Super Nintendo game is about 22 years old. So I almost figured, you know, why not dive into one of the biggest crazed video games. I mean, this was before Grand Theft Auto, this was before Halo, so this was kind of the thing that did it. But I am going to wind up messing with the game. I was almost curious to do it for the PlayStation. I want to start doing PlayStation games on this channel also. I want them to be two-dimensional ones, like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, the Doom game, possibly like something that's two-dimensional. The PlayStation had even better visuals than the Super Nintendo did, and things were just a little bit cleaner and sharper. And I mean, that almost inspired me to do it, but I just don't know the games, and I still could learn a lesson or two about the original PlayStation. So I mean, it came out when I was probably 5-6 years old, so. But you know, beyond that, you know, I do own one, and I have a decent history of it. I've got a couple games like Final Fantasy Chronicles and some crappy ones. I have Mega Man 8 and a couple other ones, but, you know, really, that's a pretty neglected machine for me, is the original PlayStation. But, you know, so many folks see me as an Xbox or just Nintendo gamer, and it's like, well, I messed with Sony a little bit in there. Had a PlayStation 2, never got a PS3, don't plan on getting a PS4, but those first two I did mess with. So I also own Final Fantasy 7, but that's going to be too long of a game to do. But back to Mario, yeah, I'm trying these new characters, and this water will hurt you if you touch it from the side. The purple whales do make a nice touch. So we get a sense that maybe this subcon is not necessarily just a dream world, but it has some reality things to it. I still feel like we could stand to see a sequel to this game, but so the main thing to watch out for here is just the slippery tactics in addition to the enemies that show up. And yeah, you're definitely going to want to use the princess for this level, which I haven't quite figured out. I might wind up getting a game over, but you know, these are things right there. So this game also came out for the Game Boy Advance as Super Mario Advance, and when that happened, that was actually the first Game Boy Advance game that I owned. But Yeah, that was the first Game Boy Advance game that I owned, but I never really played this game that much, and it was right in front of my face. I actually owned it since June of 2001 when it came out, and the whole thing was I actually got that maybe July or August of 2001, but I just never managed to beat the game. I might have gotten past World 1 or 2, gotten something like that, but just said screw it. But so beyond that, I had just come off of the story behind that is I had just come off of breaking my Game Boy Color from anger, so I actually went a ways without having a portable video game machine, and the game that caused me to do that was Wario Blast, and got mad. I had a lime green Game Boy Color, broke it, and by headbutting it, and then got this a few months later. But the second game that I ever owned for the Game Boy Advance was Mario Kart Super Circuit. So, but I kind of missed the train on a lot of that other stuff. I remember the Game Boy actually had games that came out for it around the year, but didn't get into Advance Wars, didn't get into Golden Sun, which I have picked up for the Virtual Console, but I don't know if this seems kind of younger to me. But no Advance Wars, no Wario, none of that. Just kind of went through it. I mean, even Doom came out for the Game Boy. I think actually they put more stages in there. So, but so as it were, I still have not been able to. I need to get a drink of water. I know my throat sounds a little dry and monotone, but I just woke up and I don't feel like restarting this video, so it's gonna go the way it is. Alright, so you do not fight the boss character in this stage, but you do have to get past these enemies. We go, Billy gives us a lift, and it's time. So, now I make a discovery. I mean, here's the thing. I make a discovery and I say, well, I'm going to use the princess, and it comes definitely in handy. If you are a beginner, it is most recommended you use this character. And you can actually duck these enemies if you don't get hit. So, a little bit of fancy footwork and that sort of thing, and you should be fine. This part is somewhat difficult, but you just have to. I mean, my whole thing was just knowing what to expect. I mean, as long as you keep your eyes in front of you, it shouldn't really be that much of a problem. But I see, you know, I've had a huge problem trying to figure out where these mushrooms are. That's been the thing for me is. You know, I made sure to get some coins this time. I said, screw it. You know, if I beat the stage, I'm gonna. So, you know, fun thing is we actually didn't have that many details about the princess up to this point. I mean, the things that she did, like the floating and the throwing vegetables, have stuck around, but we just haven't really seen that many details. For most people, it was just an excuse to make it. She was just the excuse to make a video game as the classic damsel in distress. But, you know, as things evolved, she actually got a personality, and she even later had dialogue and personality traits. But, I mean, And it was the same thing with most other characters. I mean, Mario didn't have a voice, neither did Luigi. Toad was just a handyman. And so, but that was the Nintendo games. That was 30 years ago when we knew almost nothing about these people. Then it was kind of the same way about Zelda. I mean, Link, and that's the whole thing there is, you know, Zelda's currently on a high because of Breath of the Wild, and this makes me wonder what they're having Link do this time. Yeah, because I've known about Link for a good while. It's really the thing there is he's always been a pretty sharp hero. He's been up there with Cloud Strife and Dante and Tommy Vercetti as far as memorable heroes, but you know, this problem is I don't know. I guess there really isn't a problem. So yeah, Zelda rocks. You know, definitely be on this side. You know, I'm almost curious about Breath of the Wild. And apparently, I watched a Boogie 2988 video, and he talked about how Nintendo actually sent a free Nintendo Switch machine to, you know, devoted Nintendo fans. And it just makes me wonder, like, I was almost considering doing the Nintendo Creators Program if it wasn't for the fact that I use the Game Genie in one of my videos, and I know they don't like that, but if there's, you know, me trying to beat stage 8-3 is gonna be a huge difficulty, so, but I'm not sure if the reason why you got a free Nintendo Switch is because you're part of the Nintendo Creators Program. I assume that they wouldn't send someone to a person with like 6,500 subscribers, but more like 20,000 or 38,000 or more, but I don't really know their stipulations. Nintendo, you know, prompts me to be curious, mainly because they're kind of changing in terms of internet communities. For the most part, they didn't even like online play when I was growing up. You know, they had 3 online games for the GameCube, but it's definitely become a difference. I think things like Super Mario Maker have helped with that, and there's possibly been a few other things, Pokemon Go and some of these type things that have come out have just been, but I would like to see, I mean, I guess I'm just gonna have to watch Breath of the Wild. That seems to be like the only thing left to do is just mess with that game. I really need to know what the critics think about it. I'm gonna have to go to IGN and some of these websites to see what they've thought. But at least get a coin. Now, obviously you're supposed to go on top of the castle if you want the mushroom, but I just wasn't thinking of that. So, and I needed it, you know, I definitely did. Maybe I do go on top of the roof. Well, so the only thing left I have to do with this game is simply beat World 7, and I'm going to do that in the future. I've got some things to take care of, but then after that, I am basically going to commit to beating this game. So I've done 90% of it. I've beaten the first 6 worlds. I just have to beat the last 2 stages, including Wart, and then that'll wrap up this game. And it's been, you know, there's been some grubby things in this game, but, you know, I've still managed to come out on top. I definitely would not want to do World 6 again. So obviously, don't do what I did here. I thought the blue one was the one that you're supposed to use. You're supposed to use the red one because he'll actually walk off the edges and there's more spikes down there. So. yeah, World 6, that one was whole thing about it. I think I die here, I'm not sure, I'm not positive, but yep. Trying to collect my thinking. I need a Red Bull. I need a Red Bull pretty badly right now. It's usually something that is like my wake up gear. Some people have coffee, I have Red Bull. A Monster wouldn't be bad either. I've actually been seeing people drink that a lot more recently. I'm talking about it in my vlogs, but it's always fun to see someone messing with that drink. But so yeah, as far as acidic roots is concerned, I've got some walking videos that are getting ready to happen. Frenchie's going to be featured a little bit more, and you know, I'm kind of in the midst of whether or not I'm going to get my permit this year. I'm not 15 or a teenager, for those who don't know, but I'm not employed, so it's like the only reason why I don't have a car. But just is, I'm just trying to figure out the extra stuff as what to do concerning my personal life. But I mean, regardless of what I do with my personal life, it's going to be fun for you all. When you watch this channel, I've definitely got, you know, ideas that are going to keep me going, but it's just a matter of executing them. That's always the biggest problem. It's not coming up with the idea, but actually doing the idea seems to be the thing. And, you know, I'm basically going to adhere to this, but I just have to make sure my mind is in the right spot. This character's kind of an ass goblin. He will, you know, once you beat him, he trying to disintegrates into 4 fireballs that you're gonna have to destroy with another mushroom block. So you do, the battle is not over once he stops shooting those like that. But just remember to, you know, go off the screen like he does, because it's a tactic. Because he won't do that. That's a good way to dodge. But the princess kind of picks things up slow, so obviously the wise one to use here would be Toad. But yeah, I'm just gonna... That was kind of stupid what just happened there. But I do manage to get 3 out of 4 of them. What I probably should have done is I probably should have just waited for him to jump that way. But regardless, we got the video done. So that is World 4. I probably think with practice I could get that done a lot easier, but you know, that's the whole thing about this game. It's just whether or not when I will eventually return to it, because it is fun, but this is a little tricky game. Subscribe for more fun. Stay tuned for part 5.